Hi, my name is Tara Sagan, and I did my internship at Volunteers of America Crosswalk. Crosswalk is a shelter for homeless and runaway youth. It's here in Spokane, Washington, and they offer a variety of services to youth, from meals to beds. They have a GED program. There's a nurse that visits once a week so that the kids can get medical help. There's a clothing room that is funded by donations where the kids can go once a day and pick out any 3 items that they would like. They have a full commercial kitchen there, and they serve 3 meals a day. They have case managers to help the kids with any needs that they have, and generally just connect them with any services that they need. I was able to arrange my internship. I'd heard about Crosswalk. Well, actually, I'd heard about Volunteers of America through a service project that was going on at church. And I'd found a site called Spokane Cares that just lists all of the different service organizations in the Spokane area and tells a little bit about them and their contact information and volunteer opportunities there. And so I followed those links and made a phone call and arranged an interview. And then there were a lot of background checks and applications that I had to fill out since I'd be working with children since they're minors. There was like a state background check I had to pass. I also had to get immunizations. My immunizations had to be current, and I had to take a TB tuberculosis test. But then I was able to intern, and I was really grateful for the opportunity. My responsibilities at the internship, they started me out at the front desk, answering phones and accepting donations, checking in clients, which is what they call the kids who come there. I would greet and check in visitors. They were also responsible for checking in any medications or weapons that the kids had on them because they aren't allowed to bring those into Crosswalk. We have a progress points program where if the kids participate in different activities or complete certain tasks, service sorts of things, or helping up clean up around the place, they earn progress points, and then those progress points can be traded in for things like gift cards to McDonald's or movie tickets. And so I got to be in charge of recording progress points. We also have to record the services that are provided at Crosswalk, so we check them in when they come in, and then we mark if they're there for school or if they're there to receive counseling services for job placement, or if they're there to get clothes from the clothing room, or if they eat a meal there. We record all those things, and those things need to be turned in for different funding programs that they apply to receive funding. I also was able to, at the front desk, share resources with people who come in looking for help, tell them about the different programs. If we couldn't help them, tell them about other programs in the area that could. And then there were a lot of callers and visitors that would come in just wanting to know what we did at Crosswalk. And so I'd get to share with them our mission and what we provide. And they might be looking for services, or they might be looking for opportunities to volunteer. But I got to talk with both of them about what it is we do. So I was only at the front desk for the first week of my internship. And then after that, I was only there occasionally because I started doing other tasks like teaching life skills classes. I was able to teach classes on stress management, conflict resolution, and understanding personality to the kids there at Crosswalk, and they would earn progress points for going to my classes. That was a lot of fun and gave me a great opportunity to interact with them. So I used my time there preparing for those classes as well as teaching them. Another project that they had me working on was the Parents Resource Guide that they have there. It's like an 11-page document that tells about answers to different questions that parents might have who are having problems with youth, who might be involved in substance abuse or having problems at school, or if there's just a lot of conflict in their home. There's a whole list of different programs that could help families in these situations. So the document was already made, but they had me go through and update it because it hadn't been done in about 5 years. And some of the organizations listed were no longer in existence, and some of the programs had changed. And then just some of the wording was outdated. So I got to make it a little more accurate to what was being provided. Also, some of the services that they listed had been expanded, and so I got to update that so it was more relevant. I was also involved with the Spokane Youth Advisory Board, which is a committee of youth from, I think they said from 16 to 24, who had experienced homelessness. And the community was looking for their input on what can be done to help, especially youth who find themselves in these situations, and find out what the gaps are in providing services for them. I got to attend that meeting and participate in it. And at one of the meetings, we came up with this idea of, because one of the aims of the advisory board was to get the kids to start thinking about sharing their stories, the stories of their homelessness, so that the community could understand what they're facing and try to help, try to do better. So in the thread of thinking about how to get them to share their stories, one of the board members there, one of the youth, is enrolled in a local college, and she works with a tutoring program there. And we came up with an idea of pairing the homeless or formerly homeless youth with a writing tutor who could help them to write their story, and making an event of this where the kids could come and have this help with to express their stories and get their story out there. So we've been working on putting this event together and partnering with the college and those tutors, and reserving rooms and locations, and putting together flyers and marketing materials. So I was the point person for that project, and that was really rewarding. How did I benefit the site that I served at? I benefited the site by giving, first of all, my time and attention to the kids, just being there for them and helping them with just sort of mundane things, but doing it with a spirit of love and appreciation for them. Also, I gave careful time and study to projects that others just didn't have time for, taking the time to research the classes that I did, and such that the people who work there are very, very busy, taking care of 15 or more teenagers at a time. Keeps everybody bouncing pretty well, especially with the problems and the issues that these 15 or so teenagers face. It keeps everybody pretty busy. And so, since I wasn't directly involved in those tasks, I could give attention to other projects that might have fallen to the wayside. I was also, the program that I helped the most was probably the Healthy Futures class. The Healthy Futures program is the one that provides the life skills courses for the kids after school and on the weekends. And by teaching the classes that I did, that boosts their numbers and gives them the opportunity to get more funding and more support. I also helped give the kids experience with committee and group work, as I sort of tutored them through this committee process of putting together the writing hall. And I pitched in with just the day-to-day operations, like when I could be at the front desk so that someone else could make phone calls or do work that they needed to do, or if I could help the kids with a bike lock while someone else was making arrangements with the parole officer, then it helped to ease their load. The next question is, how did I benefit personally from the experience? And there's a long list of ways that I benefited personally. I definitely gained a real shift in my perspective of, I think there's a real tendency to kind of get a me versus them kind of feeling towards people that face the kind of difficulties that these kids and their families face, with addiction, with incarceration, with homelessness. and violence. Being there with them and becoming their friend definitely deepened and deepened my feeling that, and my belief that we're all made of both strength and struggle, and really helped me to see the burdens that others carry, and realize how important it is to stand with them and not to judge. I gained an opportunity to experience trying to teach gospel objectives without explicitly using the gospel. So, and that's something that we talk about in our coursework constantly, but getting the chance to actually do it was really eye-opening, and a real challenge to be able to do it on the spot like that. But also it works really well, I found. It was for me, I've been doing these classes online for about 2.5 years, and I've been at home as a stay-at-home mom for about 15 years before that. And so just having the experience of leaving home and going to work was important for me to have, and it's going to be a good adjustment as I take my next steps. Another thing I learned is that I got to experience what it's like to care without carrying the burden of what I'm helping these kids with home with me. I was able to show an appropriate level of concern, but not take that work home with me. And I was happy to see that that was really doable. It definitely taught me to be very, very, very grateful for my home and family. As much as I loved being there with the kids, I was so grateful every day when I got to leave and go home to my own peace, and my own troubles were so welcome compared to the things that these kids deal with. And my own kids seemed like almost like a treat and breeze compared to the things that that I deal with when I'm dealing with the kids at work. I got to gain professional contacts and an understanding of the professional community. It really opened my eyes to a variety of opportunities available. I'd been pretty single-mindedly looking at mental health counseling, but after being there, it's more of a social work kind of environment, I saw that there really could be a place for me there, and it is something that I could enjoy, even though it's something I tried to steer away from before. One thing that was interesting is that I got to see what really is helpful and what really isn't as far as service and giving opportunities go. For instance, there were all these care packages that had come in at Christmas, and our job was to go through the care packages and sort them out. And there were things in the care packages that had been given that we had to remove and give to somebody else because they were things that the kids weren't allowed to have. And some of the things that were in the care package were kind of irrelevant to homeless kids because they don't have a place to store the things that they were giving them. When they have to kind of keep all their earthly possessions down to what they can fit in a backpack, they don't need some of the things that were being given in these packages. So just having that inside look at what does a homeless teenager really need and would really appreciate was eye-opening. And I don't know, I will definitely in the future in Relief Society projects or Young Women's Service projects, I'll definitely look more into what do they need and what will benefit them before I go just assuming things. I got to work in a very diverse environment with people of all kinds of different religious backgrounds, different sexual orientations, different mental health struggles, different kinds of addictions that they faced. I was able to work with all of that kind of diversity, and as well as racial diversity, and I got to experience what that felt like in a working way, and it was wonderful. I really appreciated it. One important connection between coursework, so that would be the next slide, between our coursework and my internship experience. One example would be when one of the young women who goes to school there at Crosswalk in the GED program, that day she had to bring in her daughter, who was 15 months old, because babysitter had fallen through or something. And I was able to take my knowledge of child development and talk with her about her baby and how she was developing and how she was growing, and share some of those ideas with the mother, and I think it really benefited them. I would definitely recommend this site and this experience to other students, but only if they are self-starters and very self-motivated, are comfortable finding their own work to do, and are comfortable in a pretty rough environment with. You're going to experience coarse language. You're going to experience physical altercations, and you'll have to be comfortable with the kind of diversity that's there as far as different sexual orientations and understanding that chemical dependency is a part of what these kids deal with every day. So you have to be non-judgmental and willing to just meet people where they're at and accept them for who they are, and be a self-starter and be willing to learn on your own. And if you're willing to do that, then this would be an excellent opportunity for you. And you'll learn things and you'll meet people that you would never otherwise have an opportunity to. And Lynn told me when I started that coming there and being there, working there would change you forever. And I definitely feel like it has. And can't really look at people the same way anymore when people who have become my friends are experiencing these things, such as incarceration and drug abuse and sexual exploitation. It's personal to me now. So if this kind of an opportunity sounds of interest to you, the person you can contact is Lynn Smeestead. She is the Director of Operations there at Crosswalk, I believe is her title. And her number is there on the screen. It's 509-838-6596.